Call this meeting of the Shorewood Village Board to order at 7:42. All trustees are present except for trustee Batos is excused. I assume this meeting's been properly noticed?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. I would like to make one flip-flop change in the agenda. When we go down to item 9, new business, I'd like to move B ahead of A. We'll do it in that order. So with that in mind, we'll move on to item 4 of the agenda, which is consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve this evening's consent agenda?
I will approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Discussion?
I move on item B for separate consideration.
Move item B, okay. Any other? Okay, all in favor of approving the consent agenda except for the removal of item B, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. That takes us to items removed from the consent agenda, which would be the appointment of Alan Ekman as a regular Board of Review member, term expiration 2020. Is there a motion to approve that?
I move to approve the appointment of Ellen Ekman as regular Board of Review member, term expiration 2020.
Second.
Discussion?
I can give a little background on this. There were several vacancies on the board of review, and when there are alternates, as part of the committee, the procedure is to ask alternates to move to full membership, or to change the status to be a full member, and before seeking new applicants, especially for board of review, because there's not a lot of interest in this committee. So the first alternate was contacted and asked, she does not feel she can fulfill that duty as regular member, and so then the second alternate was contacted, which is Ellen Ekman, and she is able to fulfill that duty, so that is why we are recommending that she would be appointed as a regular board of review member, term expiration 2020, and then we will fill the alternate vacancies moving forward.
Attempt to.
Attempt.
Any other discussion? Okay. With that, all in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd like to abstain.
One abstention? Okay.
Aye.
All right. Okay, is there, item 6, is there a motion to approve the February 6, 2017 Village Board minutes?
I move approval of the village board minutes February 6, 2017.
Second.
Discussion?
I was just wondering, under 7, for Jerry Diedrich, if we could specify the program that she asked us to look into. I can't remember the name of it, but that would be helpful. If we had
Well, that was the sidewalk repair.
Grinding, specifically.
Sidewalk grinding.
I don't know that that's.
Leveling, probably
That's
leveling.
I think there was but she mentioned an 8 program. to me.
So it's,
What was it, Milwaukee? No, it wasn't.
no, Whitefish Bay.
Whitefish Bay.
She wanted us to look into Whitefish Bay's program and to see how we may or may not.
Okay.
So if we could just be a little more specifics.
Any other discussion?
Item 9A1, the first line, trustee Marvin, seconded by trustee Bachler, is based upon the thorough review by the bid director. Given the recent emails that we received today, I'd like to strike the word thorough. And the item, I can't find it at the moment, on the village manager search, C, is that 10? No. I just wanted to include the item where we talk about the contract for the village manager search that we include to be funded with general fund reserves. I'm sorry.
D9D.
9D.
No, we
Yeah.
approved the RFP.
It
It
wasn't.
wasn't approval of contract.
But
With
when it is,
with the funding source being general fund
it's
reserves.
identified as.
The funding source identified as general fund reserves.
Okay,
I-
anything else? Yes.
Under 9B2, I had asked before, whenever we talk about strike clause 4 and policy number 3, is there a way in just brackets to identify what, some context of what that policy is?
What's 9B4?
So it's 9B number 2.
Oh, number 2.
Yep, sorry, and it just says trustee so I can move, seconded by trustee Maher to approve the proposed attendance for volunteer committees policy and to strike clause 4 from the policy number 3. I just want to know what,
We'll put the title of policy 3.
yeah, the title of the policy and then
Yeah.
what did clause 4, what was it in regard to?
Sure.
Quick.
Which that was in regards to, that was old language that we already amended previously. So I believe we could provide that.
Just say strike clause 4, old language, whatever clause 4 references.
So did we adopt the attendance policy? Was that a separate policy? or-
Wait, are we finished on this one? Or is this the same?
It follows the
Okay.
same thing. Did we approve, I thought it was a separate policy, but there was a conflicting policy in clause policy 3.
So that was included, remember, that was the additional language we had in the motion. Was because it had the old language, so we struck it out of policy number 3. I don't know what.
And we
the title is,
approved, the thing we approved was policy number 3 then, revised or?
No, well, with that motion, what we did was, we did 2 things. Number 1, we adopted the new policy, which is number 33.
Okay,
That was the
yeah.
committee attendance policy. But in the motion, we also included language that would strike clause 4 of policy number 3. Because that had old language when it came to if you wanted to vote someone like off of a committee or removal. It was that section called removal.
Okay.
For policy number 3, so we did 2 actions in that one motion.
So on the minutes, on this, where it says proposed attendance for volunteer committee policies, shouldn't we have policy number 33? So it could not, you have 2 policies,
We can certainly specify that.
or new policy, proposed new attendance policy.
You good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Go
Any
ahead.
other comments? So we have a motion and a second. We've had a few adjustments, and all in favor of the motion with the adjustments that we're making, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item is citizens to be heard. This item is for matters that are not on this evening's agenda. Discussion may follow comment on non-agenda items or discussion in action may come at future meetings. Is there anybody who wishes to be heard this evening on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 8. We have a presentation of the community survey. Turn that over to Mr. Berger.
Yeah, thanks. So, that was a good question. So one of the things that I thought would be good for us to purchase is a clicker. So we know with clickers that people that are presenting, they can click themselves, and we don't have to ask Chris to do that. So I think that was,
We don't need them.
yeah, so I think that would be really nice. So that's something just for our supplies and that. So we have invested in a clicker, which is going to be great. We can advance it. It even has a laser pointer. So we're moving on up.
Who's going to be in charge of the clicker when it's not being used during a presentation?
I will be watching it.
Okay, that's.
So I wanted to do a 10-minute presentation on the community survey results. I forwarded that to all of you in the packet. It's available on the village website. We also have a copy of the community survey with Village Hall here at the front counter, as well as at the Civic Information Kiosk. So we have multiple places that people can access that if they would like to. I did about a 2-page memo just summarizing the results, and basically what I'll go through now is a summary of that, or basically summarizing what that memo covers. If you have any questions, feel free. Otherwise, I have about a 10-minute presentation for you. So the purpose of the survey, first of all, we wanted to offer the public an opportunity to weigh in on significant topics. And one of the things we've always debated with the survey is what approach do you take? Option A, which is what we've always done in the past, is we open it up to everyone. The survey link is available. Anyone can take it. The downfall of that is you don't always know demographically if you're going to get a statistically significant sample. And I'll go through that with a second. But the advantage, of course, is that it's open to everyone. Another option that we can talk about when we do the survey next time, if you want to do a statistically significant survey, that requires a statistician to select people based on demographic data, and they would be contacted and reached out to take the survey. That's something that we haven't done in the past. It's roughly $20,000-$25,000 that I've seen communities that have done that. Our approach is approximately $10,000, so it's a slightly cheaper option. But with the strategy that we've done, it's a method that it's available for anyone that wants to weigh in. It provides also insight on policy discussions. So as you remember, we had a few questions that was targeted towards certain policy topics that you as a board were most interested in. It also evaluates and reflects on our current services and strategizes future community priorities. So here's the general information as a reminder. SRI, which is Strategic Research Institute at St. Norbert College, they conducted the survey. We had a total of 27 items that were on that survey. The data was collected between October 20th through November 21st, which in hindsight, I think we would have liked to move that timeline a little bit up. It actually ran right with the presidential election, which moving forward I don't think we will want to do, but that's something that ended up happening. As a result, we had 873 surveys that were returned, which is a response rate of about 13% of all households in Shorewood.
Could more than one person in the household respond?
That's right. They could have. So if anything, that number is probably a little high. We mentioned in the instructions that it was encouraged one per household, but if there was mixed opinions that they would be open. So if anything, that's probably more about 11 or 10, but we just don't know. So I would admit that's probably a little high though. That's correct.
Might say more about, the marriages and
Who knows? Who knows? But to get a sample, to get 900 people roughly to respond to a survey, when we already did 2 other surveys in that year, is pretty good. Moving forward, that is a number that I think, I think the board and staff, we would all like to see higher. But 900 gives us a good size that we can take that data and start making some generalizations and starting work on some next steps to utilize that data for that purpose. 53.7% of respondents have resided in Shorewood for 16 or more years. The average household size, which has been fairly standard in our surveys, is 2.7 members. 86% of respondents said that they own a home. I wanted to identify this because this is really high for Shorewood. I think, and Erica, correct me if I'm wrong, but I actually think just more than half of people actually, or at least are in a duplex. And you can see that second number there, 72.6% of respondents live in a single-family home.
How does this compare with previous surveys?
It's pretty similar. So just know that once again, when you do an open survey like we do, this is why I mentioned the discussion of statistically significant, because I think if you were to have a statistician come in and actually target people so it's not as open of a process, but you're actually targeting so you get a statistically significant sample, those numbers would be lower. So I just wanted to point that out. There's an equivalent breakdown in household annual income with 100K to 100